Welcome to another edition of In the Minute. I got my sidekick here, Donna. Now, fans, understand, she doesn't know a lot about sports and other things, so we're breaking her in. And as we break her in, we're not gangsters, but we're about to take you for a ride. Donna,
well, because you don't tell the truth, Tony, I'm taking off these glasses. I brought in somebody that can school you, put you back in your place. We've got the one and only, Tony, Doug Williams.
Doug Williams in the house, number 17. One of the best I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot of them on the ground. He was one of them. Welcome to the show, Doug. How you doing?
Hey, Doug, welcome. You see, Tony already is not going to tell the truth.
Well, he got partially true. I tripped. He got me by my shoestring lady.
That's a good one. Well, you know, Doug, Donna, I know that you know, and we've talked about it before, and we'll get a chance for Doug to tell us about it, but HBCUs are so important within the NFL, and people don't seem to realize that still. We got the one and only black quarterback that went to an HBCU, that won a Super Bowl. And we look back and you look through the league, you see a lot of first-round draft choice, second-round draft choice, and Hall of Fame. They come from HBCU. But the NFL is just now, to me, starting to really recognize I can go there and get a Hall of Famer. What we got here is one of the best ever, and I'll let you speak with Doug a while. But look here, don't start trying to tell him you played basketball, because you didn't play nothing. We ain't seen film yet.
Hey, Doug, I told him at Fairmont State University out of West Virginia, I'm still in the 1,000-plus club, even 20-some years or more after leaving the program. So, Tony, he thinks that he knows basketball, but he barely knows football. But we're not going to get into all of that because I know the truth, Doug. You know the truth.
I heard the truth.
Yeah.
You can play, Donna. We're gonna go with that. I know you can play.
All right, come on, Doug. Come on. She didn't even go to HBCU, so we don't have to hold up for her.
I was the HBCU, Tony.
Okay, that's my first mistake today.
Hey, Doug, we talk to you a little bit about the Diversity Coaching Fellowship that was just awarded in your name with the Washington Commanders. What does that mean to the Commanders, but to the NFL overall?
Well, you know, the NFL had already made a recommendation that every team in the league has to hire a minority to work with the quarterback and work with the offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, head coach, what have you. So I think this was just the extension. You know, when I went in to talk to Ron, Ron told me that he wished he had did this a couple of years ago when I first went. When he first got here, I went in and I told him, I said, Ron, you thought about bringing in a young black guy to work in the offensive room, the quarterback room? And you know, at that time, you know, he wasn't thinking along that line, but he did come back and tell me that he wished he had done it and that they was going to do it, going to make it a fellowship, and they was going to name it in my honor, which I thought, you know, was great. And what made it so special, though, the fact that it's going to be for HBCU schools. Somebody at one of the HBCU going to be that person to come in here and work up under that fellowship.
And when you think about where you came from, being a coach there, and what it means to those HBCU schools, because you talked a little bit about the importance of all the pieces fitting together, how impactful will that be for them?
Well, I think what has happened, you know, when you go to coach at a HBCU, 9 out of 10, your chances of moving up, whether or not it's to a Power 5 school or NFL, is almost slim and none. And I think what this does is give guys an opportunity and make even the ones who get the fellowship, but the ones who don't, at least to give them opportunity that somebody's paying attention to us. So we might get that opportunity to go be an intern and eventually be a coach in the NFL or Power 5 school. I think that's the most important thing, is bringing the attention back to the HBCUs.
So how does it all work? I mean, you know, that this fellowship is put together. What are the pieces to make this really work, overall?
Well, the good thing about this, not only do they bring a fellowship in and pay him for coming in here working, it's a 1-year deal with the possibility of being a 2-year deal. It all depends on how the coaches likes the guy, how hard he works, the passion that he shows, love for the game. I think that's going to be important. But at the same time, they're also then donating some money to the school wherever that guy comes from. I think that in itself is putting money back into the school from the school that you took that guy from. I think that in itself is great.
Well,
Tony?
Well, this open a lot of opportunities for the former pro players to get involved with coaching. That hasn't happened in the past. We have had internships. We've also had the Rooney Rule. We've had all this. Will this help it? Whereas that will be designated. This guy was in there. He played pro ball, so we got him on our list. Will this help that situation?
Well, I certainly think it'll help. Because if a guy play in this league and whether or not he play wide receiver, quarterback, or what have you, and he apply for this, I think it's gonna resonate with whatever team is bringing guys in. Gonna look at those guys first. But I think like mine is for HBCUs. We're gonna concentrate on that. But if it was a guy that played in the league and he wants this opportunity, that's you can't shut him out. You got to give him that opportunity. But I do believe around the league, the other 31 teams are going to be open to bringing guys that have played in the league, but also wants to work in the league. I think that's one of the things that the NFL has not allowed over the last few years is ex-players who are working in the league. But you and I both know, Tony, today these guys make so much money, and coaching is a time-consuming thing. Before you know it, you lost 14 hours in a day. And a lot of them got kids, and they don't want to do that because, I want to spend time with my kids. I want to be able to go places, go play golf or what have you. And that's why a lot of guys are not in this league coaching now. And what has happened is a lot of guys that being out for a period of time, might be out 10 years, and then they decide that I want to come back to coach. Well, that time basically passed them by because a lot of times now they're going to get these younger guys to bring them in and groom those guys for the future.
Would the consideration be in your part in it when you're looking at individuals for the Commanders? Will you have individuals all over the country, or will you look into the ones that want to be involved with this? Because I think when we did the programs, they were there for us supposedly. Nothing never manifested from a lot of them. You never see none of those players. I remember Charlie Brown was in one for years, and he never got an opportunity to get into the league. Now that you have individuals such as yourself in that position, will this help you be able to point out to people that you think are capable of being in the NFL and for you to seek them to maybe be a part of your organization?
Well, the good part about this for us, my hand is in this one too. So, I'm on the board and on the committee. I'm part of the interview process. And that's what has happened over the years. We had not been in the interview process, but now we're in it and we got a chance to have a say-so. And that's how we're going to run this. We're going to pick probably the best guy that we possibly can coming from HBCU to give them that opportunity.
Hey, Doug, unlike Tony mentioned the Rooney Rule, and we know that a lot of people look at that like, man, that is just a joke and whatever. You look at this as being the real deal, unlike the Rooney Rule?
This is a little different from the Rooney Rule. The Rooney Rule is dealing with coaches that are out there that are already qualified to be head coaches. Like Jim Caldwell, like Bieniemy, like Leslie Frazier, like Raheem Morris, like Byron Leftwich. Those guys are already qualified. The Rooney Rule is going to be dealing with those guys. These guys are young guys coming out of colleges or what have you, to bring them in to say that, they always say we don't have any in the pipeline. Well, now you're going to have 32 of them in the pipeline. So you don't have that excuse no more.
Well, you know what? And I just want to ask you this from a personal reference. I'm about to cut my beard off, and I weigh about 240 now. I run a 4.430. You think there's any chance I can get back in the league?
Hey, Doug, he left some numbers. He left some numbers off.
Tony, let me talk to Mark Mayhew and I'll get back to you.
Okay. Okay.
There's a reason why Mark Mayhew won't call Tony back.
Because you asked him that too. Now, he was on this show. He was on our show 20-something years ago. Now he's in the position, but I know he'll call me back because I'm ready. And I'm not talking about coaching. I'm talking about playing. I
mentioned it to him today, Tony.
Okay. And when we talk about HBCUs, and Donna, I'm sorry I'm taking your time, but when I see some of
No,
my
it's our time, Tony.
and I think about something that you did for me last year. And, I became a part of the HBCU family once I left the University of Wyoming after the Black 14 situation there. And as you know, and I've talked to you about it before, that was a situation when we played BYU, we had some problems and everything. But now, 50 years later, when food security is so important, we are working with the Mormons to get food out into the underserved communities. I called you last year and I needed a help to get my trucks out because, they have promised us 34 trucks over the next 3 years, 40 tons of non-perishable food to go into the underserved neighborhoods. And when I say that, it's not black and white, but when you gave me this food bank and I got in touch with these people, that's how important it is to me, people such as yourself. And I really want to thank you for that help because a lot of people would never know and who to get in contact with or what the Mormons were doing. And they're doing something great right now. And the reason I'm even mentioning this is I want the community, I want the Washington team, I want everyone to get involved with this because right now food security is so important. And you know about the trucks and you gave me good information. And how do you feel about situations like that?
Well, first of all, I think we all got to take our hat off to you, Tony, for going all beyond trying to do something for people who are less fortunate than we are. And when you called me, I said, look, let me get back to you. And I made a couple of phone calls and made the connection. And that was that. But the most important thing is what you're doing, because it would not have happened if it had not been for you. And I think that's the most important thing.
I appreciate that. And I have to go back and digress a little bit. It's what the Mormons are doing. It's what Brigham Young University and the University of Wyoming is doing. 3 adversaries, and now all 3 of us got our logos on one shirt, and we say justice is served. And I know,
and they owe that and a little more to you, Tony. They doing that. That is justice, but they owe a little more than that to you.
I appreciate that part.
But you know what? I'm thankful for them doing that. They recognize what had happened in the past, and you try to find a way to make up for it. And one reason with the way they're doing it, because not only are they showing you that, but they're showing a lot of people who need help that we can do this.
But aren't we doing the same thing, speaking with you, where now the league it may not be giving out food, but it's giving out opportunities to underserved individuals that need a chance. And
I think the league is, but I think we still at that point, Tony, realistically, the owners got to be cognizant enough to change their heart and what they're thinking of. And I think what has to happen, they got to get to know these guys. They don't spend no time with these guys. So in their estimation, he's not going to be a good coach. But if you don't know who you're talking to and who you're dealing with every day, it's hard to do that. So I think the owners has to put a concerted effort together to find out who are the people that are out there that are applying for these jobs, rather than letting some headhunter or somebody agent or somebody else do it for them. That's what is happening.
And I want to just say this to the fans, and I want you to listen to this, because I was at the University of Wyoming in my second year. In 4 games, I had 11 sacks in 4 games, 7 against Air Force. We got put off the team. If you ever want to look at it, look at the black14.net.
I read it. I saw it.
And what's so important about it is this, that HBCU, Bishop College, Coach Fisher took me sight unseen, gave me the opportunity to play when schools all over the country would not even give me an opportunity. So my heart is with the HBCUs. And anything I can do to help you, Doug, or any of it, I'm here.
Certainly appreciate that, Tony. That's one thing special about the HBCUs, man. People always ask me what it was like going to Grambling. I wish I could explain it to them. Ain't nothing like going to Grambling. Then when you go back, I look at these games on TV. I look at different games, and we're usually in the end zone. Going back to the HBCU when it's homecoming is a family reunion, and that's what's so good about it.
Hey, Doug, talk about some of the NFL players that have gone back, and like Deion Sanders and some of the other guys that are now coaching, that's putting some of those schools on the map even more. How big is that for those schools and those programs?
Well, let me say this. I'm going to say this first, then I get to Deion. There are some good coaches in black colleges that just hadn't gotten the opportunity. right? Number one. I don't think you just have to go out there and get somebody who played in the NFL that didn't go to a black college to be your coach. But after I said that, Deion Sanders was coaching before he went to Jackson, coaching high school, which is fine. But what he's done in Jackson is something that I don't think it's not that many Deion Sanders out there. Everybody don't have the mouthpiece Deion has. So what Deion did to Jackson, I don't think anybody can go in and do it. I don't care where you go to school. You know, who you bring in, they're not going to do what Deion has done, because he got a bunch of people that he know. He got a bunch of advertisers, and he brought it all into Jackson, and he want to make sure Jackson become that HBCU. They got a little catching up to do, though. They got Grambling, they still got to catch up to. But I think what Deion is doing is something that is absolutely wonderful, and nobody else can do that. I don't care who it is. You ain't going to do what Deion has already done.
Hey, Doug, and we got the NFL draft coming up. The HBCU schools, you just mentioned the great coaches there. It's a lot of great players in those HBCU schools. How do we get more attention there, that more of those guys are in the NFL?
Well, I don't think we've gotten as much attention that we had in the past, but I think this year we got more attention than we have. You know, with James Harris now, we put on the Legacy Bowl. We got a lot of attention. We had about 25 teams down there with the HBCU Combine. We had about 4 guys that went to the big Combine. So when you look at that, I feel real good about what this draft is going to be as far as giving guys an opportunity. Now, at the end of the day, with so many black colleges that play football, it's more out there. You just got to give them opportunity. What has happened, scouts go to these schools and don't grade the player, they end up grading the school, which that ain't the way you do it. You grade the player. And at the Legacy Bowl, we gave them an opportunity to look at the players. And they talked to a lot of players down there. Now, hopefully that we get 4, 5, 6 draftees and probably 10 free agents. I think, you know, if we come away with 12, 13 players that are on somebody's roster when camp open, I feel pretty good and feel like we're on our way.
Do we have any young Doug Williams in the draft that we should look for? Throw us a name out. We're looking for number 17, the next one.
Let me tell you, there's one kid, I don't know whether he's going to get drafted, but if he don't get drafted, I'm going to say it's a tragedy. That's a kid at Alabama A&M, Akil Glass.
Okay.
There ain't nowhere in the world he should not have been at Combine because my thing with the Combine is the fact that they didn't want him to show the rest of them up from an arm talent standpoint, because this kid, the last 2 years at Alabama A&M, has thrown for over 6,000 some yards and about 60 some TDs. It's hard for him not to have been there.
I'm making my list, Doug. I'm going to be watching to see who picks him up. If they don't, I'm like, something is wrong for sure.
Hey, I am too, believe
about
me.
it. I'm going to ask you one more thing, because I kind of been hogging it, but you know, Doug, I just feel like when I got a quarterback that I'm not chasing, I need to find out his knowledge anyway. And I just wanted to just look at it, for you to just look back, and do you realize, and you were talking about what BYU is doing and other people, but do you realize that a lot of reason that we can have this interview right here, you are a very important part of it. You were HBCU that went on. Didn't always get the brace it should get. Got with a team that you had to carry the whole team. Stayed with people, worked hard, got hurt in the season that you went to the Super Bowl, but came back and played anyway and won the Super Bowl, broke records. And now you get an opportunity to go back and help your schools. You're one of a kind.
Well, Tony, I appreciate that. You know, I mean, I have a chance to go home sometime and sit in the bed and think about stuff like that. But the most important thing is not myself getting credit, because that ain't what it's all about. You know, I've had my 15 minutes. And the reason why I had an opportunity is because somebody helped me. And if we don't help somebody else, they're not going to have that chance. And I want them to be able to have the same opportunity that I've had growing up. You know, my son is assistant coach down in New Orleans. And to be honest with you, for me, that's one of the greatest accomplishments that I can ever have, is the fact that I see him coaching in the National Football League, because I see so many guys bring their own family, their nephew and everybody else in this league, and to have one of mine to be coaching in the league, man. I talked to him just about every other day, and he really don't understand. He don't know how proud I am of him. but I just try to keep him branded, keep him grounded, keep him going forward, and hopefully one day he'll be offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, and hopefully a head coach.
The proud papa.
Yeah.
Hello. Well, you know what? Through the course of the year, Doug, we're going to ask you to come back and everything. And I just want to ask you something in front of Donna. If me and you work together, can we make up some fake stats for her for when she plays basketball so we could talk about it when we on the show again? What do you think,
There's
Doug?
nothing fake to make up, Tony.
Well, I'm going to defer.
Hey, Doug, tell him that's why Mark Mayhew ain't calling him back.
Is that what it is? The other thing is this: I'm getting out of y'all fight, man. I don't want to be a part of it.
Thank you, Doug. I wasn't even in the fight. Tony put me in the fight.
All right.
We've been fighting for 20-some years now.
No, look, I was thinking about Donna the other day, man. I said, dog, Donna was there when I was there. Donna been around. That's longevity, Donna. And
hey, that's why I tell people. I said I was around when they were winning. Doug went to the Super Bowl. Tony was there. Garrett. I said I'm there with the old school, now with the new school. I tell people that it's almost like a player. If you do the right things, you can hang around for a long time.
And you've done that. Your longevity stands out.
Yes, and you do a very good job too, Donna. And I tell you what, it was situations such as yourself, Doug, that got her on our show. I was in my office one day, and here comes a young man in that runs a 4.240. I think you may know who he is. And his last name started with G. Yeah. Daryl came in and he said, man, it's a good reporter out there. Now, I knew of Donna because I always remember she was the only reporter in the locker room that wouldn't even tell me hello. So I remember.
Hey, Doug, I told him, I said, when you come into an atmosphere like that, you just come to do work.
Look,
ain't no hello. Get in and get out.
Hey, ain't no hello. Do your work and I'm gone.
Exactly.
You think about where she is now, and that was 20-some years ago. And he said, all you need to do is give her a shot because nobody will. Same thing with the coaches. Maybe in the next 10, 15 years, we can talk about people like that.
Right.
But before you even get started, I want to thank you now. And Donna, bringing him on is excellent. And for you fans, I'm just messing with Donna.
I believe you.
She averaged, I think, 5 or 6 points a
20.
game. But now she's a good person. That's all we need.
It's always great going back, reminiscing with Doug and the great things that you are yet doing in the community for the NFL, for just in general, the impact that you're making in society. So we appreciate you. We'll be reaching back out with you throughout the season as that gets started, and maybe I won't bring Tony back. Listen at me when we have the next interview.
All right.
Hey, I appreciate you all bringing me back, man, because I tell you what, since I've been up here, I look at this place, Zachary, Louisiana, going to always be my home, but if there ever a second home, it's here.
All right.
I feel really around here, people has really gravitated, and it's not about playing. I'm not on the field. It's been 30-some years since I've been on the field. But most of the people I run across usually come to me and say they appreciate how I deal with other people. So I'm looking forward to that.
And we thank you, my brother. And like I said, anything we can help you with, just let us know.
All right. Appreciate it. See y'all later.
See you later, Doug.
All right.
So, Donna, we're going to get him back on. And, you think about that. And I want to bring your story up because it is somewhat similar. Nobody will give you a shot. Nobody would do that. And all those people that want to give you a shot, they gone now, and you still in television. And that's the way it's going to be with football. They'll get opportunity now, individuals. And I just didn't want to bring it out on the show that we just did. But I don't think they gave him the accolades that he deserved for how he played the game and what he did. He played halfway hurt. He broke records. He put Denver out before they even could get in. So, I'm glad now to see that the NFL is starting to pick up on things and doing better. And now that they've been exposed on the other end of the field, they will have to do better.
Hey, Tony, it's only one Doug Williams. And when talking to Doug throughout the years, and we were talking about, him waiting his turn to be that starting quarterback in the NFL. He should have been anyway. but teaching other people how to wait for their turn and then do it in the right way, going through the process until your turn comes. Is nobody that did it better than Doug Williams. And I'm so happy that he's here to help the next generation of HBCU school quarterbacks and then players in general, not just African-American players. But Doug, like I said, it's a class act. I look at all of you all during that time that the Washington football team at the Redskins at that moment was winning games, that all those guys, Doug, Charles Mann, Daryl, Art Monk, it's almost like more of a family. I tell people I was the reporter, but now it's like those were family. I can call back and say whatever I need, they're there. So it's almost like a family type thing. So I appreciate Doug coming in, and congratulations on the fellowship program, diversity fellowship program that was named in his name, which is big right there. And I think he's going to be doing some powerful things with that program because, as he said, he has a say in this also.
And you know what? Thank you for bringing him on so we can get an opportunity to talk to him. And, I think we should have a show where we bring him on, Mark Ripp and Theismann, and we get a chance. We won't. I
guess I have to make that happen, right, Tony?
Well, since you said you're doing that, I told you we're not gangsters, but we'll take you for a ride.
Well, Tony, it's been more than a minute, but it's been a good minute.
Hello. And you know what, Donna? We come back and do this again in a while. And for you fans, keep your eyes out. We will be back in a minute.